Okay, it is 6:39. We'll call the trustees meeting to order. First, are there any modifications or changes to the agenda? I don't see anybody here from the public. Nobody's on Zoom.
Nope.
Meets. Nope. Okay.
Actually, sorry to back up for a second. Not really to change the agenda. Shauna just emailed in her park permit for next Saturday, this coming Saturday. She was planning on, and they've done it in the past, just blocking off the parking spots in front of the park. Guessing that's okay still.
We don't want Santa running over anybody.
Yeah.
So is that just information, or do we need to vote on that? I don't think we need to put that as an
Is it
agenda.
just
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Just
we
so
already-
there you go.
yeah, it's already out.
Perfect.
Just wanted to-
Hello everybody, sorry I'm late, I was busy hacking the Russians.
I hope you succeeded.
They're tough.
Darn, they're just too good.
Please do. I will turn the meeting back over to you.
Yep, where are we at?
We just did public comment and there's nobody here from the public.
Okay, so looks like we're on review and approval for the minutes, October 24th. Everyone looked them over, didn't see anything left out or, motion to accept.
Move we accept?
I second that.
Sandy with the first, I heard Eli with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed nay. Okay, Eclipse event in April. Hi Brenda.
Hi.
So you've been working on this, I hear.
Yes. John had called me and said you guys wanted me to come before you, so I'm here.
Well, we're always happy to see you.
Well, Heather had asked, it was kind of like a timing thing. Heather had asked about it, and then we were talking about the EBA meeting, so I'm like thinking, well, we might as well. And Brenda seemed to be the,
Yeah, we're still in the very preliminary planning. Once we had confirmed plans, we were gonna go to the select board and then to you guys, just to give courtesy updates. But I tell you, preliminary is, it looks like right now, we're gonna be in the ball fields down across from the high school.
Oh, okay.
So that's why we weren't submitting any permits or
That's a
anything.
nice big spot.
We had talked with Matt, he emailed back that he thought it was perfect since school will be out at 11:30, we have all that parking, we have the ball field so children aren't worried for the road. Just waiting for confirmation from Mike Wolf for, at the athletic director. Matt had brought up, if the fields were waterlogged, damage, kind of, what could be a concern there. So that's the preliminary. Secondary location was going to be the rec fields. So that was the secondary, because we don't want it in the middle of the town. One, you want great views, and two, you don't want to be worried about traffic with the kids. So that's what our focus is, because right now they are estimating 250,000 visitors to Vermont for that day. So this is how big of an event it's going to be. We want to max on that for our community as another community united program. So Margot with the rec department is involved. Shauna and Diane with EDCA are involved. Brenda with Bees Flowers. Kim Oraldi is involved. And then of course the library. So far those are the people who have joined. All of our meetings are able to be accessed by Zoom, and we make it public. Shauna shares it with the EBCA, so anybody who wants to be involved is welcome to join the meeting if you want to hear what's going on. So we are looking possibly to have like some puppet shows going on to distract the kids a little bit. Because we found when we did the small one a number of years ago, just out in front of the library on the lawn, we had over 100 people and we didn't even really advertise much for that. And that wasn't an event like this one. And a lot of the people want to stay the whole time, from the start of it going till it comes back.
You have to. Has anybody here ever been to a total eclipse?
So,
It's
the total darkness is
your
going
minds.
to be around 3:15, 3:30 is when it'll be total darkness for about 3.5 minutes.
But it starts around 1.
No, it starts
Right.
at 2:30ish. Yeah, I have the whole sites and everything for Enosburg. I got them with StarNet. So the whole, you can even go on the one site I have. You can actually watch from a simulated what it's going to be like for Enosburg, the whole thing. And it'll be done around 4:30. So it's about 2 hours.
Pretty good chunk of time.
So.
Weather should be fairly decent, hopefully by then.
Hopefully.
Hopefully by then, it won't be too much snow.
So, our biggest concern, and so we're thrilled school is closing at 11:30 because I would not want any child getting off a bus at 3:30 when we're going into total darkness and everybody down the road is looking up at the sky. So that was our concern, and so I was thrilled when they let us know, no, they were closing school at 11:30 that day. So, all of Franklin Northeast was, so that's really exciting. It's a great chance for, as I said, for the community to just be together and for our local businesses maybe to benefit a little bit from all the people going to be in the community that might go to their business to buy something. So the other thing, if we can be at the sports fields down across from the school, is reaching out to an organization that might want to use the Boosters food booth, and then they could sell food. We also are, we've been approached by someone who wants to do meditation, because of course that's linked with the eclipse, and some different things like that. So we have talked to Tim Caff for maybe their DJing music. We've talked to another gentleman to see if maybe his band will play a little bit. We wanted the town band and the school bands, but I don't think that's going to happen. I said we need Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon playing when we go to darkness, so you know.
It's actually a very, maybe not using the right word for some people, but it's a very quiet religious experience.
Yeah, it is. That's why we were reached out for the meditation woman. And so we figure, and we're looking into more things. We have a whole list, but we also are looking into, it was suggested maybe we should be selling t-shirts. So have one person delegated to look into where people could, on the online store, order t-shirts, and it would be some slogan to be with, you know, the darkness with Enos, some sort of slogan. People are looking into it. And maybe some stickers we'll give out for that effect, which everything will have Enosburg on. So we're trying to really push that Enosburg aspect. So, you know, as I said, once we lock in more, I was planning on coming back to really update all of you with the finale, but any of you want to join in the planning, be involved, we would love it, because this could be a really huge event. This many people coming to Vermont. And I know one person who comes to the library, and they have family coming from a number of states out west to come see this that day. They're going to be staying up here for about a week just for this event, and they're staying with that family. So, because all the motels are booked in Vermont.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
The Quincy was fully booked for this event last spring.
Yeah. And that's why I think some people, like, until I brought it up with the town office months ago, they hadn't realized how big this was going to be. And so I sent them the little video clips I have, the websites, just so they'd be aware, because of course I answer to my trustees, and then when I want money, I go to the select board, so they all know that. But, so I always try to keep them in the loop. So they're now aware, they have been for months. I'm more than willing to send Abby the link that shows the simulation, for if anybody wanted to see it. But we're really excited. I mean, anytime I can get where the community is working together, that's what I like, so.
Sounds like you've got a really good handle on it.
Yep, sure does.
Is it safe to say that the library is kind of the Eclipse liaison?
Yeah. I always say the library is the community center, so, you know, we really are.
Well, good, yeah, keep us posted for sure. It's
One of the
exciting.
things I was wondering about, because I was in a meeting recently where they were talking about like traffic control and like posting like signage and stuff.
From what Billy Joe had told me, the police have already started. They did quite a while ago. They had come into the select board about that 2 months ago, about the increased police presence there's going to have to be. Billy Joe is letting Garrett know in regards to we may want extra ambulance coverage and personnel, because if there's that many people in the community, you know, they need to be thinking of that line too. So the behind the scenes part that I don't always think about, I know that's been approached already. And as this gets bigger, depending on where we are, we actually are hoping to get some people that will become like crossing guards, if you will, for the street to help keep that limited. I know the Lions Club is always willing to help with stuff to do with street control or blockage. They've helped me many times, so we're waiting to see exactly where we're finally going to be, because that will be a big issue. And if we also, of course, we have Officer Lynch we can reach out to, since normally he would have been in school during that time
can just stay
anyways. And he does come on check on us in the library, he's good.
I wonder setting that road up, like Dickinson through, does it go one way?
Yeah.
Come in, and go back out, down School, or even out Pleasant.
Yeah. Yeah, that would certainly lessen the,
Is there other
Potential for
communities getting involved in this, or?
I think there's stuff going on in almost every community, honestly, for the bigger communities. I know, like you think about JP has been promoting their Eclipse event for probably 6 months.
I know Shelton Schools, the kids, they're doing a big thing with the kids have been learning about it. They have a huge bulletin
Yep.
board up front with a bunch of stuff
It
on
goes
it, so.
right over that school, like, right over it,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're right.
in the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have at the library, I had gotten them way back in the spring free, 500 pairs of solar eclipse glasses. And they're still in their original box. People have bugged me, can I have, no, I'm sorry, they will be available at
Show
the
up at the
event.
party.
And the one we had before, we only had, originally I purchased 50 pairs of glasses. I think at the time of the event, we had maybe 30. And these 100 people are out there and they're sharing the glasses around so they can take turns looking at it. And I mean, to me, that was the joy of the event, how much everybody was together and doing stuff. And we had people, older people who came with their chairs and sat, and they brought their coffee and sitting on our front lawn just watching things. And so I'm really looking for kind of the same type of atmosphere of camaraderie, so, but yeah.
The other thing too, I mean, we can offer up the highway department's parking lot for emergency services, because
Yeah.
we'll place this park.
then they'd be right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's great, thank you.
Your 500 pair may not be enough.
I'm sure it won't be, but I'm not gonna buy any more. And they limited me to 500. I was hoping to get 1,000, but they said only 500, so that's what, I won't,
We'll
beggars
make
can't be choosers, you know? But yeah. So, and then on the other plug, as I said earlier before the meeting started, we're Operation Happiness Central. We still have 49 children's wishes there. Anybody wants to stop by. Everything has to be back by the 9th of December, so we really only have 11 days to get these 49 children's wishes granted that are still on the tree. We started with 117 last Tuesday. We were open Tuesday, Wednesday, and then yesterday and today we've had, well, over 70 of them have gone, so but we still have 49 more. So if we can get, spread the word.
How does the stuff get distributed to the families?
Pardon?
How do you get the stuff to the families?
So they registered with Operation Happiness. The 16th, they are gonna pick it up at the Opera House. Teenagers and different workers are there, they bring it out when the person pulls up with their car. They have a number with Operation Happiness. So the children's presents will all be in trash bags, so that way the kid can't see it. And they also get a box of food and a coupon for Hannaford's for like $10 or $15 for meat, and some hats, mittens, stuff like that. And so it's all registered with the organization Operation Happiness.
There's no, some people like to maintain their anonymity.
Yep. They
So I
have
wasn't
it.
sure
See,
how
like, I only have them as a number,
Right.
and that's all I'm ever gonna see, because I don't want to know. I mean, some parents come in and they're like, oh yeah, that's us or something, but that's their privacy.
Right.
But it's a wonderful program. I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad our community has reached out as it was. Last year, we only had 70 children. This year, we had 117. So that's a lot more. So yeah, so please help spread the word for that, because we don't want I mean, they won't be left if we have to. Operation Happiness will go buy what needs to be bought. But it's kind of nicer if everybody gets involved and helps. And they are only, as I really stress, they are only Enosburg children. So when you do it, you're supporting this community. So, anything else from you?
Other than to tell you that you do a great job.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm tired.
I'm sure your job is a little tiring.
Never. So, well, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, up next, we review Franklin Foods wastewater allocation extension request. So, what is this?
There's gonna be a couple parts to this.
So it was approved in 2022.
So it was approved in March of 2022. We have a few months before their allocations end. And the request was for 121 allocations, wastewater, and 10 water allocations. We've reached out just to give them a heads up that, it's coming due soon. And traditionally, they kind of need to decide whether they're going to purchase them, hold on to them, and or not, and they would go back in. So you don't have to vote on this tonight, just kind of want to bring it in front of you because they're a significant amount. Brian's thought, he leans more towards not providing an extension because we are, if we grant this, if we grant these allocations, or we already are granted, but we're getting to the point where it's getting pretty full with the allocations, so.
What is their reason for wanting the
This
extension?
is-
They didn't get this stuff done, or?
So that whole Purpose Energy project was put on hold, and now it's supposedly back in motion. They're supposedly working on it again. And there's no, obviously it will be done by March, even close to being started, so.
What do they have for a timeline?
They haven't provided one yet. I mean, they're still,
That's probably the important part here.
yeah.
Because if it's like a year, 2,
John,
Could go on forever.
okay.
John was trying to make it tonight, he couldn't, so I advised him that we would just probably bring it up and start the discussion on it, and then, he said next meeting he could make it and give more background on what's going on.
That would be good.
Yeah, we advised that would definitely help.
That is a lot of allocations.
Mm-hmm.
For their digester must be.
Yes. In the past, because again, it's $3,000, so it's roughly $363,000. In the past, I guess we haven't done extensions, but they've started payment plans, or maybe in the past you folks have been a part of that, but I guess that's been a process in the past.
Yeah, we don't typically offer extensions.
I'd lean more towards the payment plan myself.
Yeah.
Then at least the
We
money would
have
start
done a
coming
payment
in.
plan with Franklin Foods in the past. We don't generally offer it up front, but they know that when we caught them up and corrected where they should be for allocations in like 2014, it was a significant amount, so we did do a payment plan. So they are aware, just from past experience, that could be on the table.
Yeah, I think that that's a big enough number where, in my opinion, a payment plan could be installed.
I think that's plenty fair enough.
And it's an incentive to, I'm already paying for it, so maybe I ought to get going.
What would you think for like, how long of a payment plan? Not that you have to make a decision tonight, just.
Well, let me just do some rough numbers.
You don't know what we did for them in 14. how that
I
worked
don't
out.
off the top of my head, I know Lori would know, but I don't. I could pull their file and probably find it. I wanna say it was over close to maybe a year because it was us catching them up to where they should have been, so it was on us a little bit more, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Well, it's also
Uh,
a couple
like
months before
a 5-year would be
Not a year.
74 grand.
ish.
I believe too, they did say at the initial meetings that we had with them prior to bringing this to the board back in March, I mean, with all of their funding and loans, once, if the project is fully moving forward, I believe they were supposed to have all of the funding to be able to cover it. I don't know if that's changed, it's been a year and a half, so I don't know if their circumstances have changed, but.
Sounds like we need some more information.
Yeah. Yeah, I think talking to John and then making a decision might be a good idea.
Yeah, it was more to get it out in front of you, to see.
I mean, I wanna see them do it,
Right.
you know, I'm sure it's going to be a benefit to the community, but they also need to do it.
Yeah.
We've got our ordinances and stuff for a reason.
Yeah, let's see if we can get a timeline from them, see where they're at, see what they are willing to do. We're willing to work, I think, as with the payment plan, but get the ball rolling on the project.
Maybe we can help them get it going.
Yeah,
I'll put it on the agenda for next meeting and advise John to be here
Yeah,
for
we need
that.
him here.
Again, when we put it on, he thought he was coming, or pretty sure, and then I guess, sounds like they got some folks in out of town for, they're having to deal with.
the bosses. They
Yeah,
can come
none
in
of
too.
them are- Other than John, none of them are in town anymore.
Okay, we good on that?
Yeah, that, and when they're here, we're gonna, maybe we can find out when they're gonna tear that house down.
Plural, I think.
No,
No,
no, the other one's, the old Lamunda house is being rehabbed.
Yeah.
I don't see any permit signs on
They
it,
could
but
have
it's
done
being
there.
rehabbed.
They're, which I don't remember, but there had been permit signs on them, but yeah,
No,
they're.
those are all foreclosure signs. There are no building permit signs. And the one fellow I tried to talk to doesn't speak English.
Oh.
Should we move on to budgets?
Cynthia,
Yep.
appreciate the last time.
Are you all excited?
Everyone's super excited.
Yeah.
Sam, before I forget,
I dropped it on Lori's desk.
you're the best, thank you. Okay, I will try to make this as short and sweet as possible. I started with the 2 easy runs. Do I get any bonus points for doing them? Couple of things before we dive into each one of these, just in general. The last meeting that I was here, we talked about the 70, 10, 10, 10 split. I did do a little bit of research into that and had a discussion with PBS, our auditors, about that. That is not set in stone, and it is something that should be evaluated and updated annually if we need to. We do have, you know, not everything has to be set. Like I explained to her, like a lot of the maintenance on this building, you know, we split between all the funds. And my reasoning why, because whether the light department was here or not, we'd still have this building. So kind of trying to go in and have that discussion. They're in support of whatever we decide as long as we can justify it and it flows with the numbers. So it is not at set in stone.
That's interesting. I was told it was in the charter.
Yeah.
In the charter?
That's what we've heard a couple
Yeah.
of times over the years. Is that it
I
was-
can reread our
Guess we need
charter,
to
but
look.
I don't remember seeing that in our charter. But according to KBS, we can update annually if we need to.
But, what are your thoughts on
So
that?
the reason I'm bringing it up is because I do not agree with the 70, 10, 10, 10. John and I have been talking about this for a few weeks now. Yes, the light department still does take up a bulk of our time administratively, but I don't agree with 70% of our time. There's a lot of water, wastewater, general fund. I mean, think about it. These meetings, how often are we actually talking about the light department? Like, there's a lot of stuff where that division isn't really sufficient. I mean, for like trustee salaries, in my opinion, that should be a 25% split across all the funds. Same almost with John and to a degree, maybe mine, but there's a lot of different ways, but my proposal that I wanna run the numbers for is gonna be a 55, 15, 15, 15. So it's basically general fund, water, wastewater would increase from 10% of the administrative costs to 15%, and then the light department would go from 70 down. If you look at the budget that's in front of you, anything that's in yellow is what would be affected by the split. Anything that's not highlighted is not affected by it. So it's basically administrative salaries and benefits that tie to that, and then the utilities essentially is what gets split. So I don't have it ready to show you tonight. I will be 100% upfront with you on that. The next meeting, I will have the other two budgets, a first draft for electric and general fund. I will have them all 70, 10, 10, 10. And I will also have a 55, 15, 15, 15. So just if we can keep in mind when we're doing the agenda for the next meeting, we're gonna need a good chunk for budgets so we can look at both and decide. And I will do my homework on the charter, but
Yeah, I would take
according
a
to
look at that.
Ray,
And
we don't have to.
are they thinking that there's wiggle room between whatever item we choose? Or is it kind of a blanket if we set it 55, 15, 15, 15, it has to, everything is that?
I need to clarify that because I told her, like, right now there's some stuff that we split 25 and she didn't.
There is some stuff currently?
There is some stuff that we'll throw 25% and split it. And I told her it was completely laid it out there how we do it, and she said that was fine. So I will 100% clarify that, but my understanding from her is it's not set in stone. Because I know, like, Swanton has their splits different because they have police and others, they have more than we do. But in conversations with Lynn, they evaluate that based upon the time. So theirs, I know, is not set in stone. So I've never seen it in our charter when I've gone through it, but it doesn't mean it's not there.
Right, and then I would also just check maybe, not FERC, would it be, yeah, it might be FERC actually.
Derek?
No,
The FERC accounting?
yeah, check with them maybe, because the way that it was explained to me, it was pretty well definite that was the number that somebody, a committee, had come up with to appropriate whatever funds that we have going out to, or coming in from. So,
So my understanding from other utilities, not all of us are on that same split, so that wouldn't, I don't know.
I don't know either, I don't have a solid answer, but, yeah, maybe
No, I'll do more
check
legwork
with
on it,
FERC.
definitely, yeah, that's why I didn't do all of the legwork and changing all of the budgets yet, cause that's a lot of work on me to have.
It is, and I would just hate it to be like, yeah, we make the change, we all agree on it, and then all of a sudden it's
No,
like,
crap, we
10
can't.
years from now, it's, hey, we,
My intent tonight was to kind of put the bug in your ear that we're looking at this, and then we can continue the discussion once I have all 4 budgets done.
Fair enough.
But I just wanted to
'Cause
throw
it-
that out there because we have talked to all departments about it, and obviously, we're gonna get into it in a second, but on the water and the wastewater, we are looking at increases for 2024 to cover our expenses, and that obviously will impact that. And quick side note, the electric department, we're still waiting for the PUC approval, so we still haven't implemented that.
can we back charge?
So technically, we could have started implementing the rate that we requested back in June. However, we did not because one, our software isn't, it could do it, but it's an administrative nightmare. And we would have had to turn around and issue refunds because our initial request was 14%. We only ended up hiring 1 apprentice, so we're approved at 11.68. So with the software that we have, it cannot figure the refund. We
Yeah.
would have had to manually done that. So we, cash flow wise, we've been doing okay, so we've steered clear from that. We were just hoping the timing would kind of stagger it out so that our customers aren't gonna get hit all at once with everything. But unfortunately, the PUC is not playing nice at the moment. And
Oh, yeah, they're not gonna get the bills, they don't care.
so back in September, we were told that they were gonna expedite it. and myself and Eli Emerson, our attorney for this, have been kind of, hey, can we get an update? And no one is even responding to our emails at this point in time. So I don't have an answer as to why it's taking so long, but we should have been implemented by now. Even if we went through the full process and didn't skip the last step because the department, DPS agreed with us, we should have been implemented by now. So I do not know what's going on. I don't have an answer there other than that we're pretty frustrated. So, just kind of a side note that increase is coming, and then we'll talk about these right now, but I just wanted to kind of sidebar, keep that in mind for the grand scheme of everything. Okay, we'll start with water, that's on top. So my proposal is a 3.5% increase over the 2023 rates. That would raise an additional $12,614 in revenue. Biggest increases are salaries, that's the standard 3%. Health insurance, we're getting hit with a 3 or 5? Why am I drawing a blank now? 3% or 5%? 5%, yeah, I think you're right. 5% increase on our health insurance. And for our union contract employees pay 9%. We're on the hook for 91%. Obviously the salaries drives our pension, so all of that has gone up. Insurance, we're getting clobbered on our insurance. It's not just us specifically. They're 27% increase on workers' comp for us is the estimate right now. 6.5% on property and 15% on liability, and auto, I want to say was 15% as well. It's not.
Did we just shop insurances, or were we planning on shopping?
So I have shop insurances. John reached out to Shauna Lovelet to see if Halls kind of could do anything. They don't do a lot of municipality stuff. I've been working with Vermont Leagues of Cities and Town. They're supposed to be putting an estimate together for me, and I've been bugging them, but I have not gotten it. It would make us passive members with them, and it's something that a few, well, wastewater specifically, but it would benefit highway a lot too. We're not passive members now, and there's a lot more opportunities, like a lot of our safety, PPE, we could get grants through them, like a lot of trainings. There's a lot more opportunities for us if we're a passive member, but to be a passive member, you have to do your insurance with them.
And the downside is?
We don't know how much it costs yet.
I don't know how much it's gonna cost yet.
Can't get a hold of it.
They're not, I've sent them all the
It's an
information
excuse.
like months ago, and we haven't got the quote back yet. The last update I got was they're working on it, but that was probably a month ago. We would still have to do, like, the wastewater has a pollution policy. We would have to keep that separate. They do not offer that. And we may potentially have to look at an third party to make sure that our hydros are significantly covered like they should be. I know Swanton Village is with Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns, but they also carry more coverage for their hydros because Leagues of Cities and Towns doesn't offer enough coverage for that. Unfortunately, with hydros, we're very limited to who we can go to. So we may still have to carry another vendor just to get the full coverage that we need, but unfortunately, I don't have any numbers yet, not for lack of trying. But our insurance company now is saying across the board, everybody's getting clobbered. Their exact words on the auto for a 15% increase was paying for all of the cars from the flood. So all these big natural disasters are trickling to all of us, whether we are impacted or not. Postage has gone up, and even what I have in here, I'm almost questioning a little bit because we did just get word that they're trying to push another increase through for next year. So that may change slightly on the water. We did also add in for the public works to get the director to get uniform boots. They're out in the field like the other guys are, and it's also come up to have shirts or something identifying Because right now, if Gary goes to somebody's house, he just has a business card, which anybody could have, so to have kind of more of like the uniform embroidered like the rest, so it's a little bit easier. One other discussion that we've had is the PPE. Right now, all of the light department stuff falls on the light department, but realistically, they're the water and light department. And, you know, hard hats, vests, that stuff they're using for water breaks, so we're gonna kind of take a look at that breakdown and see if we might tag a little bit more over there. Maintenance hydrants, just an FYI, cost of a new hydrant is close to $4,000. We've been trying to keep one in inventory. As soon as Gary jinxed us. As soon as we bought one to have in inventory, somebody took one out on Mrs. Gray Street. So, but the operator's insurance would cover that in full. And the training we're looking at, Avery's gotta get certified, and Dave Westcomb, to keep up his certification, has some classes he has to take. What else do I got? Only thing for capital projects so far is just Elm Street, which will be funded. That was what the bond vote was partially for. So looks like right now we'll qualify for a 40-year 0% loan, but to be continued. There's not anything else really major on here. It's all pretty straightforward and standard. Couple projects that we have coming up. I don't know if you guys remember us talking to you about the lead inventory survey that we're being mandated to do.
Yeah.
So Enosburg was allocated $77,000. A&E has had to do some initial engineering, but they are gonna be $30,000, give or take. To do the physical inventory, somebody has to go to all of our water customer houses and do stuff. They will not allow us to have access to the rest of that money to cover salary costs. And a good portion of it would be overtime because we've got to set up times and appointments with customers. So that would be an astronomical cost to us if we had to pay all of that overtime. And we also have the AMI meter installation coming up. We should be ordering them, what, January?
Yeah, supposed to be ordered.
January. The state grant money finally came through. We have access to that now. So the meter order for electric and water is supposed to be in January. John reached out to a company from New Hampshire.
Yeah.
From New Hampshire to talk about having them do the lead inventory as they replace the water meters.
Yeah.
Our guys have expressed some concerns that if there's, older systems, if there ends up being bigger plumbing issues, we don't want to be liable for any of that with just swapping out the meters. And they did tell John they could meet the deadline that we have on the lead inventory as long as the meters are coming in. We don't, plus side is, doesn't sound like we have to change every single water meter for AMI, only the census ones, but not the Neptune meters. We have two different types of meters.
Yeah, because there's a phone core on one of them, right?
Yeah.
Right, everywhere.
So there is a little bit of money in the AMI budget that was budgeted for electric meters to be installed. They budgeted $35 per meter, but we're gonna do the install on the electric meters. So John and I both talked to Ken the other day, and he said that we could just move that $35 and kind of allocate it to the water portion. So there's a little bit there that can help offset the costs. I think I brought there.
Are those AMI meters direct replacement for the current mechanical or electric ones? Like you can use the same fittings and everything?
Meter
Because
costs.
there's like a standard water meter, right?
You're talking water or electric?
Water.
Yes, so the Neptunes, yes, they basically some of them may not even have to change out. The Neptunes will come down to how they are condition wise. If they're in good condition, we won't be changing them out. The census we have to change out because it's a totally different wiring system. And then back to Abby's point, so the other part of those funds that we got, again, some of it's gonna be allocated for A&E, but for whatever reason, the state won't pay us to go out and have our guys do the lead inventory, but they will reimburse if we hire somebody to do
I tried to argue the point too.
Yeah, that doesn't
Yeah,
make
makes
sense.
perfect
Shocker,
sense.
but I tried to argue the point with them.
So that's one of the reasons why we decided to look at having them just go do it, because, you know, then it would be coming out of our pocket, we could get reimbursed for some of that as well, on top of the $35
Yeah.
per meter.
So John's been kind of working with a company, they're called New England Backflow, is the company out of New Hampshire. The estimate to do AMI meters and the lead inventory is $198,000. So part of that would be reimbursed from the state, not all of it, but part of it, and then part of it's gonna fall under the AMI grant, but we will be on the hook for probably some of this, depending on how the breakdown from the AMI money flows. So John reached out to them for a breakdown of how much of this is lead inventory, how much of it's the AMI, so we can get a clearer picture. So hopefully we'll have that for the next meeting, so.
And again, some of that, not even the worst case, so we have 600 customers, 600 meters. Again, we don't know what percent is Neptune, and what percent is census. So even if it's
Still may come in far under that.
Yeah.
We may only have to change out 200 meters, not 600 meters, but
You should ask them to give you a quote in tiers, that way, because I don't wanna get a quote for all 600, they only change 175 and we get the full amount, the full quote. You know what I mean? So have them quote like 1 to 200 replacement and
Okay, I'll go
inspection,
Right.
yeah. Cause I can see that maybe happening, like this is the quote,
Yeah,
you know?
No, I mean, I made him aware
Oh,
of
no.
when he came up.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
he's supposed to be re-quoting. Once we talked. This company is in Shelburne right now. They're doing Shelburne. They have
Big,
it.
there's a big development or something going on there, isn't there?
Big what?
Development in Shelburne? Or are they just doing a lead inspection?
They're doing both.
they're doing
They're doing-
AMI
They're
and,
doing, actually, the same exact thing. They're changing out meters and checking and doing lead.
except their basements will be better overall.
Well, he hasn't gotten to the village yet. They are in the outskirts where houses are like 30 years or less. They haven't gotten to the village where stuff's 200 years old, so you know.
Anna Swan is looking into
Mine's a
using that
cellar.
as well. That's who actually gave us their information. So again, a couple of these line items might be subject to change based upon how much we find out is covered and how much is not. The lead inventory definitely has to be done next year. And it sounds like AMI, so there may be a little bit changing on the capital project component where we may have to finance a little bit more. The other thing I wanted to bring up was annual reports. So we talked about this last year and we cut the number of annual reports that we ordered way back. We still recycled 90% of them. The prison print shop is closed. So Psyche and I started talking, and I talked to John, and I know we started talking about this last year, but doing a more electronic approach with it,
Put a link on the website.
which we do that anyway. Psyche looked into, you know, the harder paper if we were to print. We need to print some, obviously, and then the spiral to like bind it and make our own. All the stuff that we need, startup is less than $300. So she's willing to do that and put copies together for you guys, so we have a few. We do have to put it out in a couple different places, so the library in the town, we would hand them a few. I think I sent 15 up to the town office, and I wanna say like 10 or 12 of them came back, so.
Yeah.
And it would be one of those things that we could print upon request too, if somebody came in, but it's a giant waste of money for us to get as many printed as we do.
Yep.
Something that we could do is actually have QR codes posted, so like at the library or whatever, where you have a stack, like if you scan the QR code, it gets you right to the website so that people could just scan it and then they have it on their phone.
Yeah, it's
It's
another
gonna be
option.
popular thing.
Love to read that whole report, oh my god.
We put it on, we'll put
There's
it,
plenty
you know,
of
we'll link it
ones.
to the Facebook page, it's always on the front page
I
of our
can read it.
website, like if you go on right now, you could access last year's, but just wanna double confirm with you guys that you're on board with that. It's gonna save us probably $600 to $700 a year.
Yeah.
And it also gives us a little bit more of a timeline because it puts us super under the crunch because we have to get it to the printer. It's a 2 to 3 week turnaround to get it back, and that actually buys us a little more. Okay, it buys me a little more time because I'm the one putting it together and trying to get on the auditors for the report. So an extra week or two in there may not seem like a lot, but it will make a huge difference.
Yeah, really, I think we can only get away with 10 of them at every location that we need, just right on the cover, hard copy, don't steal me basically, and if you want one, come here and we'll print you one.
Yeah, and Psyche's more than willing to assemble however many we need. This is kind of right up her alley. She's really good at all this stuff. So I did have that discussion with her, like, hey, if we go this route, is this something you're willing to help out with? And she said definitely, and she did all the legwork, getting the estimates, and it's, it's gonna cost us hardly anything, and then our cost every year is actually gonna be even less, because it'll just be the first year to buy the spiral stuff, so.
Yep, awesome.
Okay.
Sounds-
Okay.
Any questions on water?
Nope.
I promise I'll stop rambling.
Have to have it.
Water's the good one. Water and wastewater is the good one.
Wastewater, again, it's pretty much, I'm not gonna repeat all of what I just said. It's literally all of the same
Same as the
increases. We're looking at a 4% increase. That's about $29,974 more than what we would have brought in from 2023. That still runs us a small deficit, but we should have some leeway on a couple of these numbers that I think will pretty much break even.
Aren't we switching our sludge? Sorry, I don't mean to get
Nope,
you.
that I knew you were gonna bring that up. So we already did switch our sludge. Monash is hauling our sludge. It is a little bit cheaper per, what is it, gallon? That was the weight per gallon.
I think it's per week, but
Yeah. But we've been drawing more, we're getting more accurate, and it depends on what the flows
Yeah.
are like coming here. So right now, through November 9th,
so before we weren't even measured. Just per tank.
Per load or
they
whatever.
were estimating, so we
Today we
were,
have some, yesterday we had more.
yeah.
Yeah, now it's actually measured.
And it's less expensive.
It is, yeah.
It is, it's per load, it's costing us less, but we've been pulling off more loads. It also depends on, like I said, how much sludge we're getting and what they're getting at the treatment plant. But through November 9th, we've spent $84,206. So Brian went with kind of a 5-year average. So the $100,000 may be high. It's one of those things that's really hard to gauge, but we probably are gonna be close to $100,000 this year based on the way that things are going. So we kind of wanted to leave that in there to be safe, because this year is kind of a half and half. Don't breathe, boo, go away. Okay. That's really, that's the gist as far as that. To go into the capital project, Brian has an estimate, which is in here from Laramie Water Resources, to replace the grinder pump station hatches. He estimated originally 15,000. It's actually gonna be just shy of 10, so that came in even better than our initial prediction. Updating the sewer maps with A&E. A&E's on board. Said 10,000 is a good placeholder number for that. The discussion now is a garage over here at 17 Main Street, 2-bay garage. They're talking 32 by 40 or 36 by 40. I don't know. There's going back and forth last I knew, but that's going to be about the size of it.
Build it too
bays.
big, you'll always be sorry if you
Yeah.
build it the size you want.
Well, they started out 30 by 40. We actually had my husband look over the estimate, and he said go 32, or in increments of 4, you have less waste on material. There's less cutting, and then I guess Dave's trying to push Brian to go 36, just to, like, you'd rather have the extra space. than not
36 by
have-
40?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think the material will change much on that. But Sticks and Stuff quoted us just shy of 30. The doors were just shy of 13. We
For
just have
2
some-
doors? 2 doors, yeah.
Yes. Because Brian initially talked one big door and then one smaller door, and I'm like, no, go 2 big doors in case you upsize a truck or
Absolutely.
anything. And we just have estimates on the concrete for around 10, the site work 10 to 15, And then they talked to Tyler on the labor, and he ballparked it. So we would be, the 100,000 is a pretty good placeholder for that. So that's what they are looking at for projects for next year. He had a couple other things on here initially, but after talking with Wayne, they're not gonna move forward. Any questions on those two, or there may be a couple small tweaks the next time you look at it, but I do not anticipate that draft changing hardly at all, if any.
Dumb question, but are you gonna pave the driveway on the shop?
Not a dumb question, that's actually a very valid question. I would say probably yes, knowing,
Yeah.
It's not gonna be very long, but that's gonna be something, 10 grand probably.
that's, yep. Cause what is on that proposal right now totals 87,000, so even if we do that, there's still the extra like 12 to 13,000 wiggle room for the 100, so, but that is valid. And I
Well-
don't know if Brian factored that into the site work number that he has.
What were they thinking for a roof?
I
Just
think it's in
tin?
here,
Tin.
steel, just like it'll match, it'll be, I believe, the white siding with the green roof to match all of what our other buildings are. And it would just be the corrugated steel like we have on here. Insulated for heat, he was thinking, we're talking, I think either a heat pump or just something like an electric heater, they don't really need a whole lot and they are gonna insulate it.
Does natural gas come down here? It does?
Honestly, on the street, yeah.
That.
There's
We have
that.
natural gas here?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think we just put it right on the floor.
Radiant?
Yeah.
Yeah. Radiant's cool.
Don't you turn it on once in a while so it isn't like the emergency services building?
Yeah, where it takes a day to warm up.
Day and a half, you not freeze to death in there. Yeah, in the big room. Yeah. And you
It's the
need-
way to heat up a big
When it's
space.
really cold,
I
you
mean, it just-
need like a day and a
I've
half.
been there in the
to, you know,
winter.
So
which
you
they
have
don't.
big garage doors,
Or really,
allowing
really
all
hot
the
in summer.
trucks, and then
Yep.
it's cold in there for a day and a half.
'Cause I know our garage up here, they just have, do they even have heat?
Yeah, there's a Bodie.
Yeah.
So no.
They keep both.
Yeah, I've been up there in the middle of winter, I mean, you're
Mornings are
comfortable,
fun.
you'd be fine in a sweatshirt up there, like when we do inventory in January, I generally just have a sweatshirt on and I'm fine, so it's comfortable. Do you wanna take the basement
Yeah, I can
conversation
go over
so we can
that.
talk to him more? So we're gonna switch gears, not really a fund specific, but we have some basement problems. Big problems, make it sound worse than it is.
So, yeah, I mean, we definitely, as we've talked about, we definitely have some water down in that basement.
There's
You know.
standing water right now if anybody wants to go step
Yeah.
off in
And
it.
it, you know, we need, it's not as bad throughout the day once the doors start opening and stuff, but when you come in first thing in the morning and everything's been closed up, it's pretty bad smell in here. And a lot of customers come in and I asked, cause I said, the customers come in and ask, and they do ask about it as well. But I
Look
said-
at him and say, well, it must be you.
It's one of those where you have, like, my office that doesn't have normal heat, I have my window open and my heater on just to air it out because there's some days it gets so bad in there. Yeah.
That's not okay.
So we've had, I mean, there's old insulation and stuff down there. So we had these folks come and do an estimate on it. So that estimate would include, so what they basically do is put a gutter system around. And then, so they chisel out, I think it's it's maybe in there, but it's like 6 or 8 inches from the wall. And then they put a gutter system and they paint back over that gutter system, or cement over that gutter
This is
system.
when we have the flash flood in July.
And then they put that white material, if everybody's seen it before, but they put that white material around the walls. And then they put a sub pump in there.
Collect that music or something.
And then on top of that, it comes with the air freshener and a humidifier in one type unit. It's all in that price.
Oh, so it's like an air purifier.
Yeah.
When did all, this isn't a, this is a recent issue, right? Ever since that.
It's, the basement's always been wet, is my understanding, just with the amount of rainfall that we've been getting the last couple years, it's getting a lot worse.
And the guess is it's probably increased since that tank went in, because it's all stone in between it.
Yeah,
So the other suggestion is too, is just to, at least this side, get gutter system put in,
Gutters along.
so we get the water
porch
out of
and
the
run
way, but
Put it in the tank right there.
Right?
Just drill a hole in the basement with the tank.
then we'll put Brian over his limit and
Yeah.
An extra 20 gallons.
So there is a lot of water that kind of pools right there between the tank and the building now. And you can, I don't know if Abby showed you, but it doesn't take, I mean, the ground is saturated now from this past summer, but it doesn't take a lot of water. You just go to that corner. and
It literally, there's a couple holes now in the concrete, sort of concrete, if you want to call it concrete down there. And it bubbles up from underneath. Sam, I think you're the one that just showed the video, but yes, that was during a massive rain, torrential downpour. I went downstairs and videoed it. I mean, it is just pouring in, and it's
At
gross.
some point, we have to definitely address it. It is very, I mean, even when we get a dry spell for a bit, there's still some water in there.
Well, water leads to mold and we can't have
yeah, it
that.
may not be
Yeah,
healthy.
absolutely.
Our dehumidifier, we're literally pulling 5 to 10 gallons every single day, like it's nothing.
Mhm.
Gary was having to go down twice a day. We were first running it into a bucket because it said not to do a longer hose, but we tried a hose and ran it right to the sub pump so he wouldn't have to keep going down there. And it's still just, it's a constant drip. And I went down with a basement person yesterday before John was able to come back from his other meeting, and not paying attention, go down and step to the right. Didn't look like it was standing water, and it went over my shoe.
Okay, hazard pay.
It's really, really gross and really, really bad down there.
Yeah.
So, 17 grand.
Plus, I have not yet, I don't even know who to call, you're gonna have to help me on that one, for gutters. We still need to get an estimate for gutters as well. And
Should probably
This-
do both.
And I did mention that to the gentleman, I can't remember his name, well, it's here right here, Jeff, that was here yesterday, that we were talking about the gutters, and he agreed to do that. And if we do gutters, that means we're gonna need to do snow guards on the roof, because ice comes flying off that roof right there, through all the valleys come together. So,
We gonna need 3 quotes on this though?
you guys can waive it, or, I mean,
I
John
don't know.
called them a month and a half ago, and they just barely.
What if you got a hold of like Serve Pro and what's the
Do
one
they
in
do that,
Plattsburgh
though?
there? Router Rooter?
Does DW Savage do that?
That was my question. I would-
Maybe get a bunch of quotes and just
Didn't
see.
you Google them? Didn't we look at a few different ones and they were the only ones that got back to you?
Yeah, I think it did.
We
That's a good
we did
one.
a little bit of research before we reached out, and I mean,
I
it took
can't
these guys a
even-
month and a half to be able to get here. With the flooding in the southern part of the state, it's hard to
Yeah.
get anybody up here right now.
When might this work happen?
If we, January, if we like start the process, it'd be January, they'd be here.
How are we gonna pay for this?
It's the question, Abby.
I knew you were gonna say that. We'd have to discuss it. The other thing to also throw out there that the ladies and I have brought up a couple times is these carpets went in 2014. We have never once, like, they're vacuumed, but we've never, like, cleaned the
I'll
carpets.
bring you my shampoo.
This building has been neglected as far as some of the upkeep and stuff, and we're gonna hit with.
Any commercial carpet should be fine for 20 years.
With the amount of boot traffic we have up front, it gets to be, with the guys coming in, it definitely, when it,
Yeah, we probably may not even do the whole thing, but
no,
at least
like
from.
kind of up front more so, and actually now that you say that, my dad has, make him do it. But, something we did get an estimate, I gotta pull it from our company that comes in and cleans now, if they could do it. I think Lori reached out to them, I'll have to check my email. But there's just that housekeeping stuff we haven't done.
Tying into the basement thing, any like water in the basement company should be able to really wash carpets pretty good. Like water and fire, those kind of
Yeah.
companies.
Mhm.
So maybe they can, I don't know. Take
Well, I
care
know
of
Savage does part of that when they've got places to do
it.
that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's one of the things that's done before they leave.
yeah. I would like to see a couple more quotes just to see.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, where is this money gonna be coming from?
We would have to look at, because it would be split, because it's for this building, it's technically split between all 4 funds. We can either put it into the budgets and that would affect the increase. We can look at financing, but realistically it should be split across all 4 and it's gonna affect everyone.
For the sake of transparency, I think this should go into the budget under building maintenance.
So there is a line item in every budget, maintenance of 16 Village Drive, so it would fall under there.
That. And then I don't know if would qualify as a special project, but this number looks big enough where people might ask what it is. It's
And they have a
new
right.
windows, new roof, whatever, yeah, no, yeah.
Okay. That's all I have in budgets. I think that's more than enough, don't you?
No, let's keep going.
Okay, let's stay all night.
Hey, I've been trying to do more of the legwork so we can roll through it quicker than usual.
Any other questions on budgets for now? Okay, manager's report.
One thing on this ad, our crew, so we do have, WEC, I don't know if you heard of the news or whatever, but WEC got hit hard, Washington Electric down, they basically cover Berlin, Montpelier,
Oh, yeah.
and then down a little bit more of the spine of like Tunbridge area. They got hit hard with the storm, so we do have both of our trucks and 4 guys down there helping out the WEC. That's what I've been texting because they're trying to figure out what they're gonna do. So just a heads up there.
Got a lot of snow.
Yeah.
What heavy
You got heavy stuff, yeah.
So Swanton has sent a crew now over to VEC to help out them. So we do have Dwayne from Swanton and Isaac right now is currently here. So I guess between the two, we have a backup crew just in case something happens around here. Both Swanton and Enosburg. Church Street, Maple Park. I don't know if you've driven through that area. You may have seen all that equipment finally showing up. Unfortunately, because of a delay from that crew and or also some of the supplies we needed that were being cast, we did fall behind schedule on that, unfortunately. So the game plan now is to, part of that project, or the reason why we're doing that project now is like because it was old, but because Maple Park was backing up, so Brian and David have to go pump it every other day. They pump it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So that trouble area is right on Maple Park in front of the church. So for this year, they're going to fix that section and temporarily tie it into the old section that goes up the south part of Maple Park. And then they're gonna come back in the spring and they're gonna finish the sewer lines that come down Church, all the way down Maple Park, and then the service lines over to the houses.
Are they gonna be able to get pavement? Or is it gonna be dirt all winter?
They're hoping to get payment to fix this one little section, but it's only gonna be right in front of the church. But yeah, they're still planning on paving that back a little.
So is it on Maple Park by the church, or is it on Church Street in front of the church?
The part that we need to fix
Yeah.
is on Maple Park.
Okay.
In front of the church.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So it's right there
That road's-
beside the church.
that road's kind of not doing so hot anyway, so
No,
if they can't get pavement, it's probably not a huge,
it's,
it's probably not a huge deal.
It'll probably be better.
Less holes.
Right.
you may know this, I didn't realize, so I mean, I was pushing Gary to get that paved, but I guess you're supposed to wait a year for it to settle, so it sounds like we're gonna.
If it's compacted right, you can pave it right off, but that's the problem. That's why we have a hole over here on Main Street. It wasn't compacted right. So any hole that we
And they
dig,
get too thick.
it needs to be,
Thick of lips, I think.
it's like 3 feet compact, 3 feet compact all the way to the top. And then it's graded and it's paved. That way we don't get a hole. So that needs to be done in the future. I meant to tell somebody about that too.
But either way, we're gonna try to get, because part of our ARPA funds was to replace the sidewalk up there as well. So once they're done next spring, we should be able to, we're trying to tie that in, just get the sidewalks done, and then we're gonna just double check on the paving portion. portion.
You know, I went down the sidewalk the other day and tripped, so I can attest to the fact that it definitely needs more work.
So that's,
Looked like I was trying to swim or something as I tried not to fall down.
so my understanding is everything's gonna be sitting over there all winter. We moved everything off the park to, so Ron has been talking with Dave Gagny, that is the owner of that corner piece. Where the old house was that burned down.
Sherry.
There's a corn piece back there?
No, Dave
A
Gagne's.
corner piece.
Right across the street.
Oh,
Not the corner piece.
There's just corn back there. Okay, sorry.
So he's, that's where all the equipment and stuff is gonna be parked for the winter. Since it's all off the park.
Good chance.
refused to pay him rent.
Just, I mean, just a side note thing, well, too, we did do some maintenance on, we did have a scheduled maintenance on well 2. That all went fairly smoothly, it's completed and it's back up and running. Solar project update, that's moving along nicely. Nice work of Abby and also with our engineer. One of the setbacks was when they came into the interconnection cost, it was pretty darn high when it was first done. But the engineer came back and did an actual site and, walked it and counted what he needed for bolts and all that stuff. And then, between that and us talking and Abby going over some of what may need to be needed, we were able to get that cost down. So the solar project's moving forward. They're just working on selling on a PPA rate, and Encore is working on getting the CPG completed and sent to the state.
What is a CPG?
CPG is Certificate of Public Good. So it's the state has to say yes. They give a blessing, saying you can go in there.
The PUC signs off on.
Yeah.
The municipal certificate of occupancy, only you're not occupying anything at all.
As you probably all know by now, the bond did pass, so thank everybody out there.
CASSED.
We had like a record number of people show up.
It was a 43?
I
think that-
forgot to go.
I think 46 is the highest number of voters I've ever seen.
Yeah, so we had 43 with.
Well, we expected a lot less, so.
Yeah, no, it's good
Yeah,
that
considering it
people
was
are
just
turning out.
For that one thing, so.
I got a couple calls on that about absentee ballots, but we weren't offering those.
I didn't on that, no.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be great, because that's gonna keep us on track with that project.
I did want to ask, do you know the numbers off the top of your head for what it passed by?
I think it was 37 to like 6 or something like
No.
that. Yeah.
37 and 9.
9 no votes.
9 no votes.
9 no votes, 1 spoiled.
Yep, and then the rest, so.
That's good.
It was,
I
yeah,
talked
it was
to
more in favor than not.
Yeah.
I talked to some people, like people heard about it, like even if they didn't attend the public hearing, like they got the information and it was good, so.
Yes.
3 people.
That public hearing was pretty.
So kind of the next, is that the radio?
Yeah.
I think so.
The next big push is for our, in March, for our local option tax. So we're gonna start marketing that out there.
I have a question about that. When you're driving around, you see gas in every town. It's usually about the same. Like right now, $3.49 everywhere. Montgomery has a local options tax. Where does that extra 3.5 cents a gallon come from? You know, $3.50 a gallon. You got a 1% local options tax. Does it come out of? Doesn't get added on after, right?
So the business has to pay sales and use tax on any of their sales. So if they sell $10,000 worth of gas, then
Isn't
1%
gas
of
taxed
that.
differently than
Well, that's what I'm wondering. If
regular sales of merchandise?
I don't
Yeah,
think
because you have a
gas, there's
specific
there's
gas
a-
tax.
I believe it's a separate tax. I don't think it falls.
does sales tax apply to gasoline, or does, because when you look at the advertised price, a lot of times it'll say all taxes included, right? Because you have like your road tax and all that stuff. So is the local options tax also included in that?
I
My
don't think
knee jerk
it-
is no, not the gas.
I don't
but
think it
can find
counts in
that out.
gas.
I think the state.
That local options tax wouldn't apply to
I
that?
don't believe it.
Okay.
I think it's more like merchandise type of sales, but
I'll ask them, I guess.
Yeah, I was just curious
And is
because
it goods or goods and services?
it's whatever you have to pay the sales and use tax on, so I think it's just goods, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, yeah, that's good. So whatever you're getting taxed at now.
So instead of paying a 6% sales tax,
Yeah, I was
pay
just thinking like if
7%.
somebody
Yeah.
did strictly repairs, I haven't dealt with that for a long time. When I did, repairs didn't used to be taxed, but I don't know if they are now or not.
It's like clothes are taxed, so it'll be on there.
No, they're not.
It's up there, yeah, they're not.
He said they're not.
Oh, I thought you said close our
No,
tax.
he said they're not.
I was like, no, they're not.
Wait a minute, no, I won't do it.
I guess I think that's all I have. I'll throw that out, there's gonna be other business from now. Hazard mitigation plan, HMP. Something we need to get put together. And it is, and I talked to you about it at one other time, it is needed for a lot of the FEMA funds that we could be recouping. And again, I talked about it because with the purchase of the houses next door, we got to have this hazard mitigation plan completed. It was started back in 2016 and never, it's died in the line type of thing. So we revived it and we're working on it. The ask is, and I have Shauna, I believe Diana jumped in. Maybe you jumped in that day, I don't know. So we do need to come up with a team essentially for the village. And this, according to Sean, the person that we work with on the HMP, it's really kind of up to that team within the municipality. Some meet weekly, some have met once and haven't met again in 10 years. It's kind of what the town wants, the people want to put into it. However, we do need to have a team and some names on that team. So that's the ask, if any of you want to join the hazard mitigation plan team. And again, it's, as we propose a team, you're gonna probably have some initial meetings right off, because there's gonna be a part, I guess, where we meet with the state at one of these points. So we'd have to bring that team in, and then, again, from there, you may never meet again, or you may meet however many times that team wants to meet.
do they need to be a village resident?
They do.
Is Mark LaRose in the village?
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe we can reach out to him.
How would Diana be on it? She's not a village resident.
Yeah, I don't think she was.
No, she lives in Franklin.
I think through the fire department, Mark would probably have a pretty good idea of
Yeah.
steps to be taken.
Would stand to reason.
I don't know.
Can't hurt to approach him and ask.
No, you
Yeah.
can't go anymore and say no.
How many people do you need on the team?
It's more of a, more the merrier.
There's no set number that you need.
I don't think he said there was a set number, no.
Yeah,
I mean, they
one person
prefer
team.
like 8,
Yeah.
they'd like to see, it's one of those things, it's a perception thing. If you have 2, that's probably not gonna be a deal breaker, but.
And Shauna said she was interested,
But they're gonna be, yes.
yeah, because she's good to have, just insurance wise.
Should the school, somebody from the school be on the team? I don't know.
It has to be a village resident.
Okay.
Because the
Carswell
town
lives
in
in
theory has their
Franklin.
own,
Yeah.
and each town should have their own.
So this team would just be in charge of drafting a disaster mitigation plan?
You wouldn't even actually do much at all, other than reference it. Again, this is where you can get involved. If you think, I'll make something up. If you think, the digester and Franklin Foods and wastewater and all that, and you're really serious about it. We get the Missisquoi River. If you're really serious about the Missisquoi River and how the village affects the Missisquoi River, you can start meeting and talking about it and stuff like that. Or not, type of thing. Again, it's a perception thing to the state. If you have 1, 2 people on it, acceptable, but, you know, if we can get up to 10 at least, you know, just shows that interest
Yep.
in the plan. So,
Yeah, I guess we'll start asking around.
When are we trying to have names by?
I'd like to get them soon, because we gotta get this list to, I wanna keep it going with Sean Coleman, who I was working with, and, I think we're a young lady,
Oh,
Rebecca, I don't know, Mark. We have Mark, but- So. If you think of anybody,
One quick other business FEMA update. We should be obligated or close to being obligated from Storm Elliott. And we're looking at, I wanna say just under 80,000. Coming into that for the lake permit. So the total expense was like 103, and then we had our administrative fees. And they'll pay the full administrative fees, which was about 6,000, and then 75% of the 103, so it was like, I can't remember what the math worked out to be, but we should be looking at close to $80,000 coming in, hopefully soon. But everything was done and it was supposed to have been obligated, so.
Any updates on the digger truck?
So, as far as everything's moving forward, once we get closer to the first quarter, I'll reach out for financing, but we haven't, to my knowledge, Alan hasn't come in and said that it's pushed off, but we should have it sometime during the first
Comes,
quarter.
yeah, it's here.
Yeah, I have
Yesterday.
I have a
we'll
feeling
put
that's
lights on it for the parade.
gonna be what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna, but until we get closer, I mean, quotes for insurance, or not insurance, for interest is only good for 30 days, so until we get closer.
What are interest rates looking like right now? Still high?
We've been lucky on, we haven't recently taken anything out other than the plow truck, and that was like 2.8 with people, so
Yeah. People's been pretty good for us.
not too drastically concerned, they've been pretty good for us.
Good.
They value our business.
Yeah, they've been awesome, so.
Speaking of the parade, we are,
Okay.
we are gonna be lighting up the
Poor
wastewater
Dave
truck.
Kluge, I think, hates me right now, and he may never come talk to me again, but we're gonna do the vac truck, which they're all like opposed to because it's the sewer truck, but.
Oh, I think the poop truck in the parade is a grand idea.
We're gonna put lights over it, and I actually have a wreath I'll probably stick on the front for it, and,
If anybody wants to walk.
we have, what did they order, like 1,500 little mini candy canes, because we ran out last year with 800, so hopefully we can make it through. John and I are gonna walk, anybody else that wants to come and walk, feel free.
I'll walk with you if I don't have to carry part of the banner for EBCA.
Okay, perfect.
Depends on
So-
whether or not the other banner carrier shows up.
Friday, if you're bored and wanna come help us put Christmas lights on, at least I won't have Alan grumbling here and slamming a door. But Dave's being a good sport, even though they protested slightly, but in all fairness, the light department did the first parade, highway department did June Dairy Day. Once
It's
I get
their
all
turn.
of them through a rotation, we're probably just gonna next year do a pickup truck with a trailer and put some float together, and I'll let them all off the hook next year, but we'll see.
that's fun.
Or put them all on the hook together.
Depends on how much they complain between now and then. And my plan is, if you guys are still good with it, to light up the bridge again and the
Oh,
Christmas
yeah.
tree.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have one.
Oh, yeah, he's not even kidding. So I was looking over here, there's like the perfect
Oh,
tree
wonderful.
over here.
And a little bit of lot cleanup at the same time.
Brian already offered to donate one to us again, but we were talking about it, and I literally looked out the window and I'm like, what's wrong with that one? And John said we could go put
That's
that one
funny,
down
yeah.
too, so.
Once you get our beautiful lights on the bridge, I'll go stand in front of the other house and just go. Turn them down.
So it does look cool with the bridge lit up.
And we are gonna turn that light off too,
Oh, the street light,
Street lights, we're gonna turn the street light off so you can enjoy our lights and the neighbors' lights.
without having the street light. kind
Yeah.
of
And the
interfere.
neighbor's lights are horrible.
So.
I just, a quick report, update with youth center funding. I submitted a grant for United Way, submitted that a week and a half ago, I think. $25,000 for 6 months. We'll find out on December 8th.
Ooh, that's soon.
Yeah, and so if we get it, money can be spent starting in January.
Wow.
So it puts, people who, groups, it's a new funding source, and organizations who receive this funding will be in the running for year-long grants after that. It's prevention money. I'm also working on a grant from the state of Vermont, violence and crime prevention, and it's $150,000 a year for 2 to 3 years.
Great.
And that's due on Friday. Pretty close with that grant application. Again, it's a quick turnaround, so we would know by January.
Nice.
So that's some of what I've been up to.
Awesome.
I'd say you've been real busy.
Other business?
There was a comment made to me that they'd like the village report mailed to them. Right now, we pick them up at the office, and they said if they're paying their taxes, their report should be mailed to them.
Their taxes are gonna go up.
I was gonna say, ask them they wanna pay more taxes?
No, I didn't. I'm just telling you what I heard.
It's 60 cents right now for postage. That would probably cost a little bit more.
A little bit more.
And they're increasing the rates, so it is available on the website. We link everything so people can still access it.
Say there's 600 households?
Which is
So this-
$2 a book to mail.
Yeah, we're just shy of 600 tax bills, so.
What's the percentage of people that come to the office to pay their light bill?
We have a fair amount of foot traffic. I couldn't put a number on it because it changes, I'm sure. But with the drop box and the amount of walk-ins that we have, I would honestly say we're probably in the ballpark of like 20-25% of our customers come in and pay.
That's like 30.
Yeah. So we have a ton of foot traffic, so.
So then people can pick up their town reports, their
Oh yeah,
village
we have them
report.
up front. They're put right
Yeah.
up on Psyche's desk, and they're at the library, they're at the town clerk's office, so we're not the only location
Right.
where they're accessible. And it's online, we put it on the website as well every year. That won't change this year either, so. We have had a few people say that when they come in, and then remind them, well, you're gonna pay for the postage and your taxes are gonna go up for
Yeah.
that, so.
Be cheaper for them to drive in and pick one up.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, depending on what they drive, I suppose.
Anything else for other business?
So, is there nothing that we can, no, probably not, that we can do about the parking issue on Missisquoi?
I mean, I haven't called Lee, I can ask. I'm trying to figure out why the increase on that one section.
Just in front of the Masonic Temple.
Yeah.
Well, they're parking from the Masonic Temple right down to the first car of Champlain Chevrolet.
And
they're there
like,
every day.
out Main Street and across.
Last Thursday, they were across the crosswalk and almost out into the road. Because
I
the
noticed
last
that.
guy was bound and determined he was gonna park there.
Is this like school day
Yep.
hour stuff?
Yep,
Mhm,
it
school
is.
kids.
Was there a change out there?
I mean, it's-
No,
My
but I
question
did,
is why?
I did hear a student say once when I was talking about it, nobody pays attention to the two, like, as in the enforcement, there's no enforcement, so it's
what do
free
we
game.
care? Yeah.
There's also no parking signs though, right?
Well,
But-
even, cause like one of the things I mentioned was like the
that's
2 hour
Friday,
parking, so that there's
free.
students are parking,
Then you could enforce it.
students are parking all day around the park too, where it's like
Yeah.
short parking, because there's no enforcement. It-
What happened to the
nobody-
parking lot?
Nobody's bugging them about it.
What happened to the parking lot that's beside the school? Who parks there?
The kids do, but there's a lot more high schoolers, fewer people are on the bus now than there used to be. Some of that is just simple trends, and some of that is, I think, fewer people took the bus because of COVID for a while, because there were limitations on spacing on the buses, and some people got in the habit of,
But when I walk through there, it certainly doesn't ever look full.
anytime, I mean,
This
when
is
I
while
walked,
school is in session.
when I've walked in there during, while school's in session, it's full. Students may be leaving for a period of time and coming back too, I can't say for sure. They did get rid of, I think they got rid of paid parking there, but kids park there. It's pretty full.
The dirt lot next to the school you talking?
It's not
No, it's the
Dirt
paved
lot,
lot,
but
it used to
it's
be
a
a skating rink.
Used to be dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We used to call it the dirt lot or
Dairy
whatever.
Days is there, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, so they were charging students to park there, I don't think they're doing that anymore.
I think it might have been.
But it's,
But yeah, I
Not that
just,
old, I
we
guess.
worry about parking and we want
Okay,
people
it's
to
not
come
bad.
and spend their
Lot
money
of-
and
lot
they
of
can't
kids
park.
driving to school and they're not paying attention and I have no
They
idea how
can
much.
park down by the fields, right?
I don't know.
It's
I
probably,
do
it's
see
probably
some
Cold
cars
Hollow,
down there.
if I had to assume.
Yeah.
That way it's kind of a
There's
central
a
parking.
fair amount of
No, but-
them.
I mean,
All the
we had to walk
students, not
from
all
here
of
very
them.
Good.
No, I mean, I see students parking there and then walking to the high school, but whether or not they're Cold Hall in the morning, I can't tell you.
You're right, yeah.
Tell you, but,
No, I don't know, there's no signs. I can't recall if there is signs or not.
We need a parking lot.
There's no signs on that.
No.
On Missisquoi Street, by the correctional center,
Yeah, we could use one of those. That would definitely
the
raise our
vote,
taxation.
the vote center, Avis Jarvis, I remember last year Avis says that backing out of her yard, she was scared to back out, she'd back into somebody, because there's so many cars parked on that street, and I went by there, I go by there every now and then, and they're just, all the kids park on that street. And at the vote center, it seems like there's a lot of place to park, there's nothing there. Why are they parking on the street?
well,
I'll call Nate and
there's a
ask
lot
him
of
about
spot that's paved within there that's used for projects and stuff too.
Oh, their sugar house is supposed to be going up still, so the big section when you first look in,
Yeah,
supposedly that's still going forward.
When I went to Cold Hollow, you weren't supposed to drive to
Yeah,
like, that
no.
wasn't
I
a
mean,
thing.
so, it could be worth
Nobody
putting
walks
in
anymore.
communication to the various principals and just, maybe they can talk to the students about.
Yeah, I think that'd be the best thing to do.
Yeah, just, because people are complaining about it and, yeah, it's not like we're gonna go and start towing people's cars.
But we have no one to do it.
It's not a matter of whether or not anybody would want to.
What else we got?
Which budget fund would changing the clocks come out of?
Well, that's our resident handyman and he's been on vacation.
It's been a minute, we haven't had a meeting since then.
Yeah, one of us will.
I looked at that and I was like,
one
boy,
of
it's
us will
getting
find
late.
out.
Yeah. It's
Well, it's
like
budget
that.
season, you know, what can you say?
Try to cut some costs here.
Yeah.
We'll get it changed.
Alright, what else we got? Nothing?
So
Hearing no other business, I will hear a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of discussing negotiations in which premature public knowledge may compromise the position in municipality as well as a personnel issue.
So move.
Either with the first, Leonard with the second, all those in favor say aye,
Aye.
and those opposed nay. Alright,